Hello YouTubers, thank you for coming to watch my videos. So if this is your first time to my channel, I am a person that just studies Vedic astrology. It is sidereal, it is different than your Western astrology, but I am a person that just enjoys looking at people's charts, and I like to look at people's charts that have already passed, and I like to see the energies of their life and see if I can understand their journey by looking at their charts. And I like to share that with you guys. And so that is what I enjoy doing. Now, if you would like a reading, I can do a chart reading for you. I will leave my email in the description box below, so you can send me an email and let me know if you want to know your placements in your charts, okay? So today I decided to do Sam Giancana's birth chart. Now, when I do charts, I've tried to, if I don't know the time of their birth on his birth certificate, it does not have a time, but I put his moon in the first house, and that will tell me from his moon to how he feels, which in sidereal astrology, they do use the moon in the first house to read a chart, because this is how the person thinks, this is how the person feels, how their life is. So I'm going to start with the moon in the first house. But before I get to his chart, I am going to tell you his story, a short story of his life, and to give you an idea of things that happened in his life, and then you can compare it to his chart, okay? So Sam Giancana was born as Momo Salvador Giancana. This was on his birth certificate, but he was born on June 15th, 1908 in Chicago, Illinois. He was born to two Italian immigrants that had moved over here from Sicily, and they lived in this neighborhood that was called the Patch. Now, the Patch was a poor place, neighborhood that had a lot of crime in it. And then in 1910, when Sam Giancana was 2 years old, his mother had passed away. This left him motherless, and his father had to raise him. Now, when he got older and had kids of his own, he told his kids that his father was abusive, and that one time his dad had tied him to an old oak tree and with a chain, and had beat him with the chain, and that he was abusive. So Sam Giancana did not want to be at home through his childhood. So he found friends to hang out with. Now, these friends were friends that had been into some crime, and what they would do is they would steal clothes off of the clothesline, and they would sell them, or they would steal jewelry and sell it, or they would steal food. And so it started with small crimes of stealing, and it soon ended up being something much more than just stealing. So Sam Giancana got a reputation. He was somebody that had anger. He had some issues. He was just what people would say is he was just crazy. And some people had said that he had already, as a teenager, had killed like 20 people. Rather, if that was true or not, that was his reputation. He was just mean. You didn't mess with him. And then the Chicago Mafia, the outfit, had said that they wanted somebody like Sam Giancana. So they asked him if he would like to be part of the outfit. So Sam Giancana was recruited into the outfit. Now, in 1929, Sam Giancana helped the outfit with the St. Valentine's Day massacre, and they wanted him just to drive the car, but he said no, that he wanted to do more than that. So he did. So the St. Valentine's massacre, Sam Giancana helps with that. Now, after that, in the 1940s. By that, he started getting into handling money for the outfit. He was handling the illegal gambling money. He was handling the illegal liquor money, which was bootlegging, because this was in the Prohibition era. And so he had got into that and met which is Joe Kennedy, which is JFK's father. And so he had met him through that bootlegging, and see, they had a percentage, the outfit would get a percentage of bootlegging money, the gambling money. Also, they would get part of the money, as well as the racketeering that was in Louisiana. So they had connections to the Louisiana Mafia as well. But at this time, by 1940s, he also was involved on the Chicago African American lotto payout system as well. So he controlled the money with that as well, would come and take it and give it to the outfit. And each week for the African American lotto payout was $180,000 a week. Just imagine the money that would be today. That's just amazing that they made that much money, because everybody would always buy lotto tickets. They would buy them if they were a nickel or whatever, but it always made them feel like they could win money. They wanted to win big because they were all poor and they wanted to get out of that kind of life. So everybody was always buying those lotto tickets. So they would make $180,000 a week. That is amazing. So not only was Sam Giancana getting money from Chicago, from all of those places, the bootlegging, the lottery tickets, the gambling, and all of that, he had moved the gambling to Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, when they had done that, it was Sam Giancana and Joe Roselli, and they took over the Riviera. They had the Stardust, the Tropicana, the Sands. They had all of these. They had more too, but they had all of these casinos, and they would get the money from there. Now, Sam Giancana knew of Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack. So Frank Sinatra, he would go and play. Sam Giancana would have Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack go play and sing at these hotels to bring in more people, because a lot of people really enjoyed watching. They liked the Rat Pack. They liked Frank Sinatra. He was very charismatic, and he was a ladies' man. Anyway, so the Rat Pack also had Lawford in it, and as Lawford was married to Joe Kennedy's daughter, which was Patricia Kennedy, and so he was connected to Joe Kennedy as well. So all of them were kind of connected together. Now, in this time, he had the control of the Chicago plus Nevada, and then he got strings to connect to the Florida Mafia. Now, Florida Mafia had connected him to Cuba, and then they started running the Cuba casino as well. Well, when Fidel Castro came up with this revolution from Cuba, they had no longer had any control over the casino there. So Jack Ruby was also connected to Sam Giancana, and Sam Giancana had Jack Ruby go pick up the guy that was in charge of that, brought him back to America, to Chicago, and then they were no longer a part of the Cuba casinos. So this took their money away and made Sam Giancana mad. Now, soon after that, the Kennedys now were also in it with him, and were not taking it, and they wanted Fidel Castro to be killed. And so that's where the government went after Fidel Castro. So at this time, this was something big that everybody knew of. We were going to they were going to try to kill Fidel Castro. Now, at this time, the CIA gets a hold of Sam Giancana and says, you know what, I want you to work with us, I want you to come up with this plan, and I want you to kill Fidel Castro. So he goes and he's trying to figure out how to kill Fidel Castro. He decides to work with the CIA and goes over there. Or he sends actually a mistress. I'm not sure who this is, but I have a good idea of who this was. Somebody over there that was his mistress, to get the mistress to poison Fidel Castro. Now, at this time, it didn't work. So then he had somebody, the person that worked over there with him in his group, his clan, to poison him, and it did not work as well. So anyways, that didn't work. So then after that, things didn't happen as the government and CIA wanted it to go. So as he connected to the CIA, this made him a lot of publicity, and I can't speak, and so this was creating a lot of light shining on the outfit, and the Chicago mob was not happy with that. They did not like that, okay? So now, at this time, Sam had gotten married, he had children, but his first wife had died, and then he got married again. In between all of this, he got married again, had more kids, and then she had passed away too as well. Soon he was living alone. He had got with somebody else, and that was who he was really in love with. But it was all about that. It was Judith Campbell, and so he was in love with her, and but they were together, and anyways, at the end of all that was said and done, with the CIA being involved with Sam Giancana, and there was other things that one day I might write a book about it, but there was other things that he was involved in that are top secret, but it was bringing a lot of light to the outfit. The outfit did not like that they were having the spotlight on them. The CIA was connected. They were all, also the FBI was connected, and they didn't even know that the FBI was listening to them. But in all reality, they were mad at Sam Giancana. Now, Sam Giancana did go to jail. They were trying to get him to confess to all the things that the outfit did, and going over to Cuba to try to kill Fidel Castro. And with all of this, they were very upset with him. He did go to jail, I do believe, for like a year, and then when he got out, he fled to Mexico. And when he fled to Mexico, he stayed there for years trying to hide out. And then when he came back, he was just laying low. He wasn't in the outfit anymore, of course, because they were mad at him. They didn't want him, nothing to do with him. And then in 1975, he was supposed to go back, and this was in June. He was supposed to go back either in June or July, whatever that was, right before he was supposed to go back to court on the 17th of June. He was murdered in his home, and so a lot of people believe that was the outfit, and they were mad at him, so they were getting rid of him, so he couldn't tell the things that they wanted him to tell. Although a lot of people said he would have never told. He was very secret. He was very true to others, and believed, in not snitching on people, but in all, this created his death at the end. He was murdered, and it was all because he connected to the CIA, and he was connected to the president, the Kennedys. All of this ended up to bring a lot of spotlight to him, and they did. So now that I have told you the story of his life, a little bit of it, I know I could have got into more details, but this would probably make the video too long. But anyways, I'm going to go over his chart now and explain some things to you about his chart. So I put the moon in the first house, which would represent how he felt, how he lived, how he felt like he lived, and how he thought, okay? So putting the moon in the first house would represent him being a Sagittarius rising, a Sagittarius moon. Now, his moon is setting at 23 degrees in Sagittarius, and it sets at right next to Uranus. Uranus is a very odd planet. It has to do with spirituality, but moon is about the way you feel and how you react to things, and it also represents your mother, but it is setting in the nakshatra Purvashada. Purvashada is about purity. They're really calm people. They're very patient. They're hard workers. They're very motivated to gain materialistic things in life, but they're also successful. They're very warm-hearted, spiritual, and they're very inclined in wisdom and spirituality. But they also like to tell the truth. They're very respectable, and they respect others as well. Now, all of that might sound a little loopy, but when you put that with Uranus, and also they're setting at the same degree. So they're right on top of each other, and the Uranus is retrograde as well. But also it sets with K2, and K2 is the is your karma planet, and when you have K2 and Moon together, it kind of creates this a little bit of people get depressed, a lot of anxiety, anguish. You kind of feel separated from your feelings. You kind of have a guard against your feelings. And so he has K2 as well with that moon. So he might have felt separated from his mother because K2 is about separation. And of course she had passed away, so he would feel that separation from his mother. Now, he also is, he had that K2 sets in Sagittarius as well. It's at 13 degrees. And it is in Mula. And Mula represents the sadness. It is represented as a root. But this is usually people that have really deep connection to their roots. So he probably was very proud to be from Sicily, and so he probably was very proud to be that Italian person, which the Italian Mafia, they are all Italian. The Chicago outfits, they were mostly Italian. But he was probably very proud of that ancestry that he had. Also, it is ruled by K2, so K2 fits there. It's not an enemy because that's what rules it. But it is about wealth, it is about righteousness, it is about hardship in a childhood, meaning that they had to grow up through really hard, rough places in life. But these people are very spiritually inclined. They have a hidden power about them, and I would definitely say that Sam Giancana had a hidden power. Now, most people said, like his family said that he was a very soft, kind, warm, loving person, and his children didn't want to know him as what they learned to know that he was. Once they were older, they learned what he really did in life. And so with this, he was a very spiritual person, but it is a person that has hardship, but that hardship gives them this ability to grow from that hardship in their life. So this is his first house, which represents who he would be, how people seen him. So some people saw him as a person that was might have had that hardship, but also spiritual, and a person that was kind and warm, maybe sometimes, but also a wealthy person. And this is what he would be looked at, and a truthful person as well. He was very known to be very truthful as well. He was true to the people that were his family, which was the outfit and the 42ers, his little gang. He was very true to them and honest to them. Alright, so his second house has no planet setting in it, but it is ruled by Capricorn, which would be ruled by Saturn, and Saturn would be this is his childhood. Also, this would be gains and money, but Saturn would rule it, and it would be that Saturn of restriction, discipline, or abuse as well. So his childhood would be that abusive type or just stern discipline. And his father probably did see it just as discipline. And so he had Capricorn that ruled the second house. The third house would be Aquarius, which is also ruled by Saturn. But that would be traveling, his childhood of education. So he might have had a hard time with his education as well, felt a little bit restricted from learning. And also his siblings would be that Saturn type of energy as well. But his fourth house is Pisces, but it has his Saturn setting in that fourth house. Now, the fourth house is naturally, the ruler of it is the moon, which would represent his mother and his emotions. So these people that have Saturn setting in the fourth house would represent somebody that blocks their feelings. They don't like to show their emotions. Also, with it being Pisces, which is water as well, this would be somebody that does hide their feelings for sure. Naturally, it is the house of Cancer, and Cancer is ruled by the moon, which is your feelings and how you think. So this is a person that kind of steps away from it, has restriction, holds their feelings down, and also this is about death as well. Saturn can be death, which is his mother. So he did lose his mother at 2 years old in 1910. His fifth house, it is ruled by Mars, which is Aries. Aries is ruled by Mars. He has no planets there. His sixth house is Taurus, which he has no planets there. His seventh house would be ruled by Gemini, and that would be Mercury. So that would be that intelligence. But he has a house full in his seventh house. He has Pluto at 1 degree. He also has the sun at 1 degree. So therefore, the sun is shadowed by Pluto. Pluto is about control. It is about things that go up and down. It's sudden changes. It's either really good or really bad. So it would also represent his soul, how he feels. This also would represent his father as well. So his father probably was very abusive, could be a little bit more than just physical abuse. But having control, his father probably was a little bit bipolar, up and down, let alone putting that Pluto on top of that. That would give that creation probably of a narcissistic person that likes to, being in Cancer or being in Gemini with that Mercury ruling would definitely be the speech of controlling as well. But so he felt probably very abused by his father. And his father was probably very different than others. But his sun is in Pisces, which is about, not Pisces, but Gemini, which is about, that is Mekshira, which is this nakshatra of always searching. And it's like they're always searching for something to fulfill this emptiness within them. And at this placement, it just makes them always feel empty inside. So it's like they're always searching but never find what they're searching for. But it's about that search and that empty feeling. So that's his soul. His soul was just kind of empty feeling. But he also has Rahu that sits there, which is his other karma planet. He has K2 in his first house with his moon, and now he has Rahu with his sun at 13 degrees of Gemini. And so this Rahu is Ardra, and Rahu is about expansion but also confusion at the same time. So he would have a lot of confusion in his life with that sun, his father as well. So he had karma with his mother, and he had karma with his father as well. But Ardra is a symbol of a teardrop. It's also a storm. These people they have very hard childhoods, and they carry that pain from their childhood through their whole entire life. And it is about depression. These people usually are depressed. They can change from being very confident to their self or about their self, and then being very sad and feeling sorry and lonely, and they get depressed very easily. But this also is about destruction. Destruction is that storm that can destruct things and people as well. So it's in that Gemini with Mercury, so their speaking would also be that destruction as well. But then it's 21 degrees is Neptune, which gives that spiritual feeling and a little bit of kind of like imagination, that spiritual side, that the other side with Neptune there. Then he has Mars at 23 degrees, which is a warrior, a fighter, and Mercury there, which is about speaking, communication, and that's at 23 degrees as well. So they're on top of each other as well. So their Mars and Mercury are sitting in conjunction on top of each other. So that would make him a very abusive speaking as well. But also he has Venus sitting there too, but it is in retrograde, and I feel like with Venus in retrograde, it kind of gives this kind of emptiness within love, because that Venus is love. So I feel like they are very empty with love. So this is all in his 7th house. Pluto, Sun, Rahu, Neptune, Mars, Mercury, and Venus, all in the 7th house. This represents his relationships, not just with love and marriage, but also with everybody else. So he had a lot of people that he connected to, and so all of these people, he had just so many connections with government, because Sun is government. Mars is men, Venus is women. So all of these people were connected to him in a Gemini way, and so these people, he might have had good communication, but at the same time, it probably was very stern and rough, and maybe a little bipolar as well. He probably was up and down, which his family did say he was really kind and sweet in the home. He never cursed. He never said bad words. He was a very polite, warm-hearted man in his home. But probably in his work life, in his career, he probably had all that, used that Ardra energy of hurt and storm destruction. All right, so let's go to his 8th house. His 8th house is Jupiter. Jupiter sits in his 8th house, which is expansion. It's at 18 degrees of Cancer. Now, Cancer is the watery planet that is psychic ability. Also, Pisces is psychic ability. So he probably had that ability of intuition, which probably helped him in his career of knowing when whatever and how to, kill people, murder people. But he had Jupiter there, which is expansion. So his moon, he had a lot of learning from his mother, because Cancer is ruled by the moon, which is, it would represent his mind, and it would represent his mother. So he probably learned in life from his mother, learned spirituality, learned a lot of lessons from his mother in life, because Saturn also sits in the fourth house, and that is about learning a lesson as well. So he had to learn a lot from his mother, and had that karma connection with her. But he had that Jupiter. Also, Jupiter is learning, and eighth house is about that other side. It is about that secret, intuitive, or that secret things in life. So he had expansion and secrecy. So he had all these secrets that went to his grave with him. It is also transitioning, but it also can be death as well. So Jupiter sitting there would represent a lot of death in his life, expansion and death. And now in the ninth house would be Leo, but he has no planets there. 10th house, he has it would be Virgo, which would be very, in his career life, he would be very nitpicky. He would treat people with that control, OCD, needing to have control of the situation. But there is no planets there. And then his 11th house of gains and wishes was what he was supposed to learn in life as well, because that would be his midheaven, which astrology, the Vedic astrology, doesn't really use that midheaven. But I stick it in there because I feel like it gives a little bit more energy and knowledge to the chart. But it's sitting in Libra. And so this is about learning how to go with the flow, but also he would be learning how to be very calm, laid back, and that would be a lesson to learn in life, and how to gain from that as well. That would be his wishes and dreams, which is ruled by Venus, and Venus is about money, it is about riches, the finer things in life. So he always dressed really nice, he always had nice clothes on, he always looked good, his family always looked good after he was an adult and grew to learn how to love a woman. And when he first got married, he treated her with buying her the finest things in life. So that is in his 7th house, Venus is. So he did like to look good and like to buy for his family, his wife, his lovers. He did buy for them and wanted them to look good. But that is Sam Giancana's chart. His 12th house obviously is Scorpio, which is also water, and it is more psychic because it sets in that 8th house. I mean that that watery planet is in the 12th, or watery sign is in the 12th house. So it gives him more of that psychic ability. So he was very intuitive as well. But this was just a rundown of his chart, a story about his life. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. If you guys have somebody that you would like me to do their chart, let me know and I will do it. It has to be somebody that has already passed. But I really appreciate you guys sitting here and watching me through my video. And I hope you have a wonderful day. All right, thanks. Deuces.